Hello and welcome to a Star Citizen Alpha 3.13 State of the Game, looking at what you can do in Star Citizen currently, how is Star Citizen playing, and how does the Alpha look. There are various cargo missions to do in Star Citizen. Take a box from A to B, or multiple boxes to various areas. Some of these missions have timers or sensitive cargo that can't be quantum travelled, otherwise the cargo explodes, so you need to sort of think about how you proceed, and some of those missions can be quite fun and chill, but they are pretty relaxed and probably would get quite boring if you were just doing that all the time at the moment. Hoarding in Alpha 3.13 is fixed though, so you can actually buy and sell goods much more easily now and just make profit yourself. However, there isn't a huge amount of profit in trade, and still the fear of 30Ks and server crashes causing you to lose your ship and cargo, and therefore a lot of Alpha UEC. It's a viable option for gameplay, it just doesn't play that much, and it's sort of artificially risky due to those crashes. I wish there were some better ways to make money with cargo. Making like smuggling much more profitable would be a good idea, and making some hotspots so there are some of these like smuggled goods that you could be bought and sold only in very specific locations. Maybe there's times associated with them, get that new time sensitive gameplay in there. Really, I want to see another jump town and high tension areas sort of form and have natural combat. And what's going to happen here? Is this person going to attack me? Everyone knows this route. It's obviously for making illegal monies, but I really like that idea, and Star Citizen suffers from not having that currently. There are some new cave entrances to explore that allow ships or vehicles to enter, but not really much gameplay there yet. There are new bounty hunting cave FPS missions though. They're a good step towards some more mission variety. This pits you against a lot of enemies in caves. Pew pew pew. Shoot them, take them out, take out a particular target. The AI is still a bit janky still, but this does add to FPS gameplay, so you're also going to get this at Security Post Korea and at the underground bunkers. If you want those new sort of FPS cave missions, then you'll want to do bounty hunting missions and then do the assessments for bounty hunting missions, then you'll get access to those cave combat missions. General bounty hunting and combat missions in space are now very viable. They largely work and spawn correctly. There are big chains of increasing difficulty for some of those mission sets. Bounty hunting being a relatively polished loop now, or at least getting towards that without having much of the actual capturing the bounty gameplay. The Miles Eckhart set of missions with the Arlington gang have you going up against large ships, including an Idris, that gets progressively more interesting. Something that ties all these missions together and all missions in the game together now is the new reputation system. It saw a wipe in the latest patch, so everyone's starting at the bottom ladder again, but if you do a load of bounty missions, or some for a particular mission giver, you'll rise up in rank, and you'll get bonuses for future missions, better payouts, and you'll be able to track this with the Moby-Glass Reputation app. Eventually, this is going to have a load of important layers to it, and give access to new missions as well as gear. It will affect who attacks you on sight or helps you, that sort of stuff. Mining asteroids or large rocks with the Mole and Prospector is a solid gameplay loop still, and has been for a little while. There's obviously refining that then supports that as a further step. So yeah, that all works pretty well. You can make a reasonable amount of money from mining. It's a bit more safe than cargo sort of transportation because, yeah, if you 30k, it's a bit upsetting that you've lost your current load, but meh, you can just go mining again. You can also customize your lasers now to make the process a bit easier and a bit quicker with new subcomponents. However, they don't hugely really affect gameplay from mining from my point of view. Maybe I'm just not doing it right. Maybe there's some best-in-class sort of subcomponents and lasers I should be using, but it was much of a muchness when I last tried. The Rock and the new Rock DS will let you mine on the ground some smaller gem nodes. The new Rock DS is a bit redundant though, DS standing for dual seat, which actually makes the version less sensible than taking a normal Rock, as the normal one can control its laser from the driver's seat. You can drive and mine effectively. The dual seat though requires two people to operate properly, or at least the driver to move seat. It's a bit lame, and meh at the moment anyway. In the future maybe it'll be cool, but at the moment meh. The transportation of the Rock and other vehicles is much better in 3.13 though. Vehicles can go up ramps and elevators without janking out so much. That's an epic win for Star Citizen bug clearance. Hand mining via the multi-tool is viable as you sort of like kind of plod around while doing other things. I wouldn't dedicate too much time to hand mining when I can just do it with a Rock and earn much more. There are still a variety of investigation missions, having you search through wrecks to find black boxes, cargo, confirming crew are dead, things like that. It's quite nice to see the sort of points of interest with those missions. There are a good amount of more handcrafted sort of examples of more interesting missions with assaulting a prisoner transport and finding the correct people there to kill or rescue, clearing a drugs stash house, a Kovalex investigation mission, 890 jump assault mission, and counter missions associated with some of these as well. Worth taking a look at all of those missions in-game for sure, even if you've already done them in previous patches. Some of them have slight tweaks, and it's good to see how they're currently performing. PvP still isn't very well supported though. In fact, I'd say it's opposed to most of the gameplay currently in-game, but not in a good way. It just sort of doesn't fit properly. PvPers need proper missions that guide them and hopefully have them camping areas like Port Olisar less. Unlawful gameplay is certainly actually pretty well supported. Most of the missions have their criminal versions or counter missions for them, but the payout isn't really worth it in my opinion, and player bounty hunters will be hunting criminals and after them. That kind of works for PvP in some ways. You have criminals and you have bounty hunters going after them. I just wish there were high risk, high reward missions that encouraged players to both do those missions lawfully, so have high risk, high reward, specialist mine here, or transport this cargo here, or things like that. That there were then a lot of PvP players and outlaws also after those sort of nodes and those players doing that and those cargo ships, so that would encourage players to hire escorts as part of those gameplay loops. They're high risk, high reward for everyone involved. Great. Do that. Let's get some actual PvP gameplay going here on all sides of the coin. Prisoner gameplay kind of works until people farm merits. Merits can be earned quite quickly by fixing oxygen machines in prison, and if you do that for a few hours, you have loads of merits, and friends can send you merits very easily when you get into prison. So boom, you go into prison, you contact someone, and within a few seconds you're out. I would actually like to see the ability to maybe only send merits to people that you're physically next to. Don't have like a network to be able to send merits. It's not supposed to be a proper currency that's traded in Star Citizen like Alpha UEC. You're in prison. You've done naughty things. It's prison currency. Have it tradable by the terminal there or something like that, and someone else has to be by a terminal. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe I'm just talking stuff that's dumb, but the game is an alpha. It's not a huge issue, and it sort of allows people that have accidentally got into prison to get out very easily. It just waters down the point of prisons and punishing players and taking them out of the main part of the game for a little while. It just goes, well, what's the point? I mean, and especially when you think about things like hacking down your criminal rating. Well, it's actually just much more viable to get caught if you want to lower your criminal rating and pay with merits. So there is a huge amount of FPS gear and items to buy in game now, though. You'll have to travel around to get this stuff because it's everywhere. It's just sort of just put in lots of different random locations. Well, not that random, but lots of different locations. They've also added the Mercury Star Runner, Nomad, and Talons to the purchasable ship pool in game, which is fantastic. It means almost every ship and vehicle that is usable in game is pretty much purchasable and rentable now. Not the latest offerings, and not like a couple of the promo ships like the AMD Mustang Omega and the Sabre Raven, for example, but pretty much everything else. And yeah, you're going to have to wait a little bit longer until the next patch cycle for the Rock DS and the Cyclone MT, for example. But good job, CIG. I will pat you on head for having all of these ships purchasable in-game. That's very good of them. That's genuinely something for players to work towards, and it makes them look less monetarily sort of predatory. Great. The game is pretty stable server-wise, and performance has been boosted with better CPU optimizations. However, me and Zin both have new computers recently with fresh Windows installs, but there's certainly been a significant improvement. Probably beyond that, it's hard to tell. There is a lot of minor gameplay, though, that won't get used much in 3.13, in my opinion. Trolleys don't really have much of a tangible function, but they may do in future. Ground vehicles other than the Rock have little use. We are still waiting on vehicles to be able to be spawnable in ships. That said, the Constellation and P-52 docking is a step towards that, and functions pretty well in 3.13 now. You can have your little snub assisting you on missions and with combat. Hacking down your criminal rating, as I said earlier, is pretty pointless, because you can just pay off with merits, and sometimes that's just faster. Lots of people probably won't notice the stacker animations, and many won't have seen a mounted gun, which are new. They appear at some points of interest, like salvage sites and underground bunkers. Star Citizen looks amazing, and although we don't have proper exploration in-game yet, the planets and moons, they've had big visual updates. So generally having an explore and look around is worth it, and very chill. check out some outposts on each of the moons, look at some of the caves, check out each of the major landing zones and walk around them. Travelling is a part of Star Citizen. They want you to feel immersed in these locations, and the work they're doing to try and do that is worth looking at. It's a treat for your eyes, it genuinely is. The best thing to do in Star Citizen, in my opinion, at the moment, though, is to play with friends and get involved with an organisation and get involved with their ops. They might have some various planned events that they do. There's things like the Daymar Rally and Hurston Hurt Locker and lots of other events that an individual org might do, and they're worth getting involved with. There's lots of quite fun sandbox gameplay in Star Citizen, and Star Citizen is much more supportive of gameplay than ever before. However, I would really like to see a jump town type thing and PvP gameplay and some actual reasons to use ground vehicles. Star Citizen is very much still an alpha, but a fun tourist destination or group excursion for longer term play. And because of long-term persistence in game at the moment, your sort of progress is typically going to be saved from the major patches, including your reputation as well. That should be added to the long-term persistent database now. So it's your Alpha UEC that you've earned, your ships that you've earned in-game, and your equipment and all that sort of jazz, and now your reputation too. Bam! Although game is still alpha, they will wipe occasionally. We could have a wipe next patch, we could have a wipe in a year's time. We don't know 100%, but Star Citizen and CIG seem to want to save all of the data that they can between patches, and they won't wipe if not necessary. So that's pretty good. Anyway, what do you think? I'm looking forward to Fleet Week and more coming later in 3.13.x patches. Are you playing 3.13 alpha? What do you think? Have you played in some events with an org? What did you do? Any cool stories that you've had doing this sort of like events and things? Whatever your thoughts, I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. Do you have questionable taste in anime? Do you not want internet pirates looting your internet search history? Do you want a way to have more accessibility to the internets from more countries? Or is your security and privacy important to you? Well, get NordVPN. I shill for them, and you should use the code BoredGamer or the links below for a discount. Try it out. It's like a fleet of escort ships making sure your internet experience doesn't get griefed. We have the April ship giveaway as well for a Mercury Star Runner. The ship is extremely multi-role and should be part of any budding citizen's fleet. All you need to do to be in for a chance of winning one is comment on any of my videos made during the month. A random commenter will take that prize. These giveaways and the wider channel content are made possible by people that go the extra mile by becoming a Patreon or a YouTube channel member with that join button and the links below. And me and Zin, the editor for the channel, are now trying to put out regular exclusive content as a thank you. We'll also be asking you in those videos to help shape the channel with making decisions about what content we do and how we do it. Please consider joining if you're really enjoying the content. It really does help. Take care, guys. Thanks for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe for more Star Citizen content, and I'll see you in the verse.